came to Roots and Branches very broken. A lot of years of brokenness. A childhood of abandonment, abuse, neglect.
For the first time, we were at a really low point in our marriage. It hit really rock bottom.
I was ready to quit the ministry and say, bye-bye, it's time to go now.
I was really in a dark place. I had suffered 2 miscarriages. I was attempting suicide. I was really in a dark place, and I needed a change. I needed something different.
I was super nervous going into my first time. It was really hard to get me to even agree to go in.
It wasn't what I expected.
You don't know what to expect. So going into this, I was like, okay, Lord, what's going to happen? But as soon as I walked through the door, it was a level of peace that just came over me.
I don't like opening up very much, but when I got there, I found it very easy to be vulnerable.
I spent some time talking with the prayer team, and then we spent time praying, and the Lord gave me images, and then we asked the Lord what those images meant, and it inevitably seems to lead to something that I agreed about in my childhood. And then the Lord speaks truth to those areas, and they get healed. And then usually for me, there's kind of a closure of the image that started the process, the visit, and I walk out with a new belief and identity in Christ.
He took me back to being a little girl, and I kept wanting to bring him back to the adult perspective, and he kept taking me back to being a little girl. And at one point in time, he usually walks with me on a trail in the woods, and we were walking on this path, and all of a sudden he sits down in the dirt, in the leaves, and he pulls out a game of jacks. And I'm thinking, what is he doing? Because I haven't thought about jacks since I was a little girl. And we played jacks for a while. And I'm asking him questions. And finally, at one point, I felt like the Lord was saying to me, I want to build trust with you again. And I want to tender your heart like your little girl heart should have been tended to when you were a little girl.
Sessions for me was when the Lord showed me a picture of a storm and a lot of boats in the storm, and I was up in a lighthouse and I could see all of the boats, and I wanted to help them all, and I was mad at the Lord for not stopping the storm and not helping them. And when I was able to zoom in on the boat, and specifically David in a boat, I was able to see that the Lord was using the storm to help David grow, and that it wasn't what I thought from far away was that it was a tragedy, but David was enjoying it and learning how to master the storm.
You're not religious. You don't, come across, with, scriptures.
It's not people prophesying over you. It's not anything spooky or weird. It's really just taking the time, setting it aside, listening to God, and having help with that. Having people sort of nudge you in the right direction, asking questions at the right moments that really help you get into the presence of God, really help you to listen and to receive from Him. And that's just plain different, because it's really it puts all the burden on God.
In one of our healing moments, a memory came up of an abortion that I had when I was 20 years old. There was protesters and everything back in that, this was in 1980. And, the church was, saying, don't kill your baby and all of that. And so me and my boyfriend, went through the crowd to get to the clinic. But I noticed Jesus was there with me. When you ask, where was Jesus? He walked right through the crowd and sat right in the clinic with me. And when I laid down, getting ready to have this procedure done, the most amazing thing happen of forgiveness. He loved me, and he stood, at the end of the table, where the gurney table, and while this procedure was happening, I had this vision that just as Peter, that represented the church, that cut the ear off of the soldier because he was so angry, Jesus put the ear back on the soldier's head. Well, he did the same thing for my little girl. He put all of her parts back together and said, I love you. He was just sitting there loving on me and wasn't judging me. But I didn't forgive myself. I love Jesus today more than anything in the world, that he was with me in that clinic.
It's a way to get healing in a deep way that would take a long time if you try to hunt down the right therapist or various things. It's just being able to meet with the Lord in a safe place and hear what the Father's heart is. It's kind of like a spiritual emergency room.
Super easy, a place where I could be comfortable, felt safe.
Roots and Branches is a safe place to bring things into the light.
It was just very warm and loving and very safe. You can say anything that comes to mind, anything that you kept secret for all these years. There is no condemnation, no shame.
What's different in my life now with my Roots and Branches experience is a level of freedom that I've never experienced. Freedom from past hurts. I finally recognize what bondage is and how to be free from that bondage. Healthy relationships, peace. That's probably the biggest thing that I've achieved now, peace.
I'm a different person. I'm stronger, I'm more courageous, I'm more confident of his love for me. I'm happier now than I've ever been, and that's just coming off of great losses. That's unexplainable.
Thank you, Roots and Branches. You guys got me out of the pit.
Roots and Branches is a kind of a thing that is a really good, like a spiritual cleansing and like a regular thing to do.
We could be honest and real, and I think that's what young people are looking for. I think people of different orientations, that's what they're looking for. I really want to encourage leaders to come. We gotta stop this crazy thinking that we have to be perfect.
It's really good for trauma healing.
If you're ready for a change, if you're ready for a different level of healing, a different level of breakthrough, definitely come to Roots and Branches. After a session with them, you'll never be the same.